Hello friends, SentinalhMC here, and welcome back to the Fusion Plant Let's Build. We're here with Waterlubber and Shiva. Waterlubber's just in Mumble, messing around and screwing around like a dingus. And an
elite dingus, mind you.
Elite dingerous, yes. In last episode, Shiva was working on this thing, and I figure you're gonna keep doing that this episode.
Yeah, I figured what I was gonna do in the war. I think it was gonna be the switches for the rooms.
Yeah. And somebody in the comments suggested some AND gates somewhere in the build so that, like, you wouldn't be able to turn the solenoid off unless another thing was off. Who cares?
Actually, that sounds like a good thing to have.
The problem is there's no way to keep the lever from pulling. Anyway, I know what I'm going to do. I'm coming down here and continuing to work on my my new segment of the building. My new shroud. So, yeah.
The Waterlubber, I took a look at my ship. I have a class 4.
Oh, and these guys are probably going to spend the entire video talking about Elite Dangerous.
Woo! I'm just going to finish off here. I'm just going to say I have a class 4, class C, type 4, or whatever. I can't remember what the numbers are. But you get what I mean for a
4C?
bi-weave shield. That's pretty high.
A 4C bioweave?
Yeah.
I've got a 4C standard.
BioWeave. I got a new BioWeave, you know, it looks really nice. Don't touch my hair. Get it? BioWeave?
No.
Come on. How do you not get that? A weave? Didn't you know what a weave is?
There's many forms
None of
of
us do.
weaves.
Well, I'm
Wait, isn't weave illegal?
right.
No, I said weave, as in...
He knows what you said. He knows.
As in, weave our family.
I swear, Waterlubber, you keep this up, I'll hop in Elite Dangerous just to purposely hunt you down and blow you up.
In Elite Dangerous.
Yes,
This stupid salvage ship is stealing my cargo. Get out of here.
A salvage ship. So somebody is stealing your...
This is my swamp now.
Somebody's... This is my swamp. It's all ogre now.
Shoot.
It's all ogre now, Waterlubber. I like the hashtag
That
make...
was an Elite Dangerous.
I like the hashtag make Donald Drumpf again. That's been going around, if you aren't aware. After...
Hashtag make Soulgate again. Elite Dangerous 2016.
Make Donald Drumpf again. If you don't know, John Oliver recently revealed that the Trump's last name used to be Drumpf, and they changed it. So,
Drumpf Fortress.
hashtag make Donald Drumpf again.
Hashtag.
It's just the best thing in the world.
Money is the best thing in the world. Money.
Money, money, money. I remember there was a game that I played as a child that helped me learn math. It was called Money Town.
Math Blaster!
No, that too. But it was called Money Town. Okay? It was a game wherein the people that basically the town was a complete crap hole. It was all falling to pieces.
So Detroit.
That's not nice.
Well, it's Detroit.
Anyway, it was a complete crap place, and everything had fallen to pieces. And so basically, you had to go around the game doing mini games to earn money to rebuy and upgrade the stuff at the park. Okay. So, like, there would be, I'm trying to think of an example. Like the bandstand, the ultimate goal was like to rebuild the bandstand, which is really expensive. Basically, it was to teach kids math skills and things like related to money. So, you know, adding dollar amounts and stuff. And no, come on, game. Stop it. I want another copy of A Carpenter's. And it was really weird, though. At the beginning of the game, this weird dude, I think he was an owl, but I can't remember. He sings this song about how money makes the world go round. It felt like in looking.
I'm sure he wasn't Donald Trump singing that song.
And looking back on it, it's a bit weird. Like I don't know, like it was trying to indoctrinate me or something. I don't know.
Well, money is money.
Anyway,
Money is good.
Moneytown was a weird game, but I remember playing a lot of Math Blaster. Math Blaster was just awesome. I loved Math Blaster. And
I watched this TV show called Cyber Chase, and it was one of my favorite TV shows, and it taught me the difference between a vertical line and a horizontal line.
And what is the difference, Waterlubber? Can you repeat it for the class?
Yes.
Waterlubber doesn't know the difference between a horizontal and vertical line, you guys. You forgot.
I failed cutting and pasting in the 3rd grade.
Cutting and pasting. You failed Photoshop 101.
That's because my teachers, I was pretty good with everything else, and they wanted to make other kids feel good about themselves, so they'd always give the kids who were good in, like, math bad grades in cutting and pasting.
You know, these days, are they teaching people Photoshop? Like, teaching kids Photoshop skills?
I think they do at my school.
This is how you create a meme, class. Today we're going to talk about memes. I was just watching Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and the
There's no knowing where we're going, but the rowers keep on rowing.
fantastic scene. And we had the DVD, and it had on it the making of, and it was a oh man, I can never remember his name. The one who played Willy Wonka, I can never remember his name.
I know it. John Wilder.
Gene Wilder. That's it.
Okay.
Gene Wilder. I can't remember.
Stop finding me for trespassing. You're a jerk.
But
Just remind me to dock.
But what he was saying, and it was really interesting, is that something that happened when in the one scene where he has to be really mean to Charlie, in the office, when he has to when he shouts at them and tells them that they stole fizzy lifting drinks and they get nothing. He was talking about how he really didn't want to be mean to the kid playing Charlie because he really liked him. And he briefly thought, before this scene, I should tell him, hey, I'm not actually mad, blah, blah, blah. But he said no. That would rob him of the opportunity to have a genuine reaction. And that was really, really cool. Because he really, really takes the craft of acting seriously.
At the beginning of the movie, when he does the flip, none of the actors knew about it. None of the actors knew about the boat ride. There was a whole bunch of things that the director didn't tell the actors about. And it really led to one of the best children's movies, at least, that I've ever seen. And one of the best movies in general. Other than Spaceballs, of course.
Yes, of course. But I love that scene.
I always have coffee before my Radar, sir.
I'll always have coffee when I watch Radar. You know that? Everybody knows that. Of course we do, sir. But
and they all reached down and covered their nuts.
Well, yeah, he just destroyed somebody's.
They're Spaceballs.
Yep. He was a Spaceball no longer. 64 wedges.
What's your name, sir? Asshole, sir. Major asshole.
Hey, I gotta cut that now.
Oh, come on. It's a scene from a PG movie. Quite literally, it's a PG movie.
Is it?
Yes, it's PG. So it's okay.
I didn't remember that.
It's considered family. It's a PG movie.
No, it's not.
It is a PG movie.
You sure? Anyway, back to Willy.
It is a PG movie.
Back to Willy Wonka. So, that thing where he comes out of the factory and he's walking with a cane. That was something that Gene Wilder came up with. He wanted to start right off with nobody knowing whether or not Willy Wonka was telling the truth or lying about absolutely anything. So he says to them when they asked him, they wanted him to play Willy Wonka. Like, they wrote the part with him in mind. It's based on a book by Roald Dahl, who actually wrote the actual screenplay for the movie. So the screenplay for the movie
I read the book.
Was written by the same dude who wrote the story, which was awesome. It doesn't happen nearly enough.
That's why it came out great.
It came out so well.
They made a lot of compromises because they do the special effects, and they were better than what they did.
Yeah, well, they only had $3 million to make the movie. So they had to make the movie.
And they did way better than the one with Johnny Depp, I think. What's it, Johnny?
Yes, Johnny Depp. But no, I think that Johnny Depp definitely had the characteristics to play Willy Wonka. He's sort of weird.
But the whole flashback scene.
Well, in that movie, Willy Wonka was...
It wasn't as cheery. It was more depressing.
It was. The story of Willy Wonka was quite depressing. Although, if you read between the lines in Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory, his story is still kind of sad. You know, he's kind of a tragic figure, even in that one. But no, the thing is that Gene Wilder, when they asked him if he wanted to play the part and he read the story, he says, "I want to do this. I want to come out with a cane." And he said, "If you don't let me do it, I won't do the part." And so that was his ultimatum. He says, I want to do the part, but I won't.
His ultimate to
But I won't do it unless you let me do this. And they let him do it because they wanted Gene Wilder, and it was amazing.
Ultimatum.
Because it really did set up the scene for the entire set. You never knew if Willy Wonka was telling the truth or not. He could have been lying about almost anything.
Shiva, speak.
The Sheaves.
Speak.
The Sheaves remains silent.
Speak. He's probably loading up Elite Dangerous right now and trying to kill me.
The Sheaves stands alone. Bring in the Sheaves. Oh man.
Singing in the sheaves.
I'm singing in the rain. Oh, man.
There's a guy who takes songs like that and goes through and then takes the rips out the audio and makes his own audio without any lyrics. So you just hear like splashes and him walking around, but without him saying "I'm singing in the rain." And it's a really it's hard to describe. It's just look up like singing in the rain without lyrics. It's nuts.
I guess Sheaves not feeling well.
He must have caught Ebola, canceritis, HIV, AIDS, gonorrhea, herpes, WebMD-itis.
Gonorrhea, herpes, syphilades.
What?
Gonorrhea, herpes, syphilades.
Gonorrhea, herpes, syphilades.
That was something that me and my friends came up with. Well, my former friends back when we played a lot of League of Legends.
Oh my gosh. Your friends are a stereotype, just so you know.
They were from California.
They're a stereotype.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of them was the stereotypical rage quitter. In no matter what game it
Combat Logger.
No matter what game it was, he would rage quit. We played a lot of games together because none of the other guys didn't want to play with him because of his rage-tastic rage. And
I would have enjoyed it. I mean, just wait for him to quit the game and then come back a little bit later.
Yeah, that's exactly what he would do. He would quit, and then, like, 5 minutes later, "So, dude, you want to play such and such?" Like, yeah, sure, let's go. We played a lot of Company of Heroes, okay? And I was really bad at it, and he was, really good at it. And but it was on sale, and I got it, and we had a lot of fun playing Company of Heroes. Now, he was used to winning when we went up against each other, but I found ways to win that were the most obnoxious, the most abusive, scumbaggy ways in the game. Like rushing a certain thing, and or stacking a certain thing.
If you were playing Secret, is it the thing that if you played on CSGO, people would call you a psychobliat for?
I have no idea what that is.
Oh, on CSGO, there's a whole bunch of Russians, and if you pretty much play the game with a Russian in, you could be almost certain that they're going to say the word psychobliat at least one point.
Why?
Because they're Russians.
What is that word, though?
I wouldn't say it now.
Okay, it's not a good word.
You'd have to cut it.
Right.
Luckily,
I'll look it up
spell
later.
It in Cyrillic, so no one could Google Translate it either.
Right. So anyway, we were playing Company of Heroes, and I had looked up a strategy online that was a rush strat for the Allies, because he usually played the Germans and I usually played the Americans, because he thought that the Americans were a bit weaker, and that he could win if I played if I was forced to play the Americans. Now, an interesting thing is that this particular strat involved rushing as quickly as humanly possible to get a quad which was a truck with a quad AA gun on it. Okay, because that AA gun could be used against infantry. And
oh my god, an AA gun against infantry?
Well, it was a half track with a just a quad barrel gun on it, and so it was really good at it mowed down infantry. Essentially, it just mowed it down. So I successfully rushed it way before he was ready for it, because if you rush it fast enough, you can get that quad out before your opponent has any anti-vehicle weapons, and when he's only got infantry. So I rushed it, and then I rushed it out onto the field, and I slammed it right into him, because we happened to be going down the same road, and then he's got his infantry coming up the street, and all of a sudden runs face first into a quad half track and gets obliterated. Okay, he just gets obliterated, and he's like, and he says, you Zerg rusher, and he quits.
You Zerg rusher?
Yeah, and he quits. He got really salty. Okay,
as salty as Twitch,
which he often did. I mean, that salt was not unexpected. It was definitely. I mean, that's what I planned for. I knew he was going to get salty, because he always got salty, no matter what happened. If he lost, he was salt, and it was hilarious. And there was another time on another map. It's like a city map, and in the center, it was like a capture the point map. He got really upset because we got into a solid stalemate, just a pure stalemate on that map, because I was constantly I was playing the Germans, because I got to really like the Germans, because the way it worked in that game, I don't know if you haven't played it, the difference between the Americans and the Germans is that the American troops gain veterancy by killing things, and then if you lose a high veterancy unit, it's just gone. So the Americans have to gain veterancy faster and don't have to pay for it, but they have to protect their units. Whereas the Germans, you just pay a bunch of money and you get the veterancy on all of the units of that type that you currently have and ever will produce. So, which I actually quite liked. It was an interesting dynamic. So the Germans could get very high veterancy units all the time and not have to worry about losing it, but it costs resources. Now, I kept rushing out Knight's Crossholders, which are these really high-tier German units. I had so many resources I could just keep pumping them out. And the problem was, he couldn't cap the point, because they kept zerging it. I kept zerging the point with Knight's Cross, and they survived just long enough to recap the point. Whenever he capped it, I zerged it with Knight's Cross, and they were so tanky that they had just enough time to cap the point before dying. And by the time he could capture it back, I had another squad of Knight's Cross. And we just kept going back and forth with nobody winning. He finally quit. Oh, it was hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. I loved messing with him by doing, funny strats and stuff. It was the best of times. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. Nah, just the best. Hey, what's this over here? Why is there a big rave area outside the building?
It's left over from Waterlubber.
Oh,
I can telepathically rave you.
And there's a lot of tiny potatoes and haggle dolls.
Yep, that's my haggle worship area. It's where I embrace my inner masochist and summon a sacrifice to Cthulhu.
A sacrifice to Haggle Thulu?
Haggle.
To
Cathaggle. The crackle. Cathaggle.
The begging him to not increase begging him to spare us from an increase in difficulty in the next patch. Please.
I can imagine the next patch. Grimoire of Gaia mobs now have 1,000 health and deal 100.
I thought Grimoire of Gaia is gone.
Oh, I might restart Revolution then.
It's not in Rev 2. Now there's dire wolves.
20s of them?
Yep, and they murdered me all day.
Well, maybe if you just said cool to them a couple of times, they'd leave you alone.
Should I build them a 9x9 house?
No, build them an 8x8 house. It'll scare them away.
An 8x8.
Never build with even numbers.
Yeah, I mean, I've built a couple things that are even, and they've worked out.
Why?
Because it's worked out. Sometimes it works out.
I hate people like you.
Sometimes an even number of blocks is what the build dictates.
Yeah, but Kim Jong-un isn't a build.
Dictates. Oh, I heard something about
Interdictates.
North Korea. Did you hear that the UN just imposed some of the strictest sanctions ever on North Korea?
Do you think they care? The only thing they import is food for Kim. Everything else is just cannibalism.
Well, that's funny. They do import a lot of Swiss cheese for Kim Jong-un.
Oh my god.
You don't know about that?
Yes,
Yeah.
I did. From King Jong-un's Draw My Life a couple of years ago.
Okay, so what happened was after North Korea launched missiles or something about missiles, and
I get all my international news from Poland Ball.
they imposed really strict sanctions, including the sanction that North Korea is not allowed to export all of its natural resources, which is apparently something that they are in the process of doing. It's just really big sanctions on the things that other countries can do. It bans other countries from entering into basically any deals with North Korea or all these other things. And here's the thing.
Wait. The UN did something?
Yeah, but
they actually did something?
Here's the thing. You won't be able to guess which country drafted those.
South Korea.
No.
Germany.
No.
China.
Yes. China is the one that drafted those sanctions, and they've been basically North Korea's only ally up to this point. So
only friend.
So now, only friends. So now even China is like, hey, dude, you got to cut this out. You're going too far. Which I think is excellent.
Even China, Mr. Pollute Everything, is building nuclear power plants and realizes that nuclear weapons are bad. So, good on China.
Okay, so
if only they could stop eating their people and turning them into Soylent Green and then injecting the Soylent Green into the ozone layer.
What?
And
you lost me.
Yeah, other than probably the Chinese that's planning to send his squad against him.
A Chinese
well, for
plot.
one, if you look at the pollution maps, China is just literally a giant skin melanoma on the pollution maps.
A giant bubble of
big
pollution.
orange red blob.
Well, see, they know how to
nitrates.
see, they know how to fix it because they did.
Nasty noxious nitrates.
For a couple of days, they fixed it, and as soon as they said, "Okay, go back to normal," it was worse again in the next 2 days later. So
you can't breathe the air there. You have to buy an air filter if you want to live more than a week.
This isn't Spaceballs.
Yes, it is. The only air source there is Perry Air, bottled in Juridia.
Canned in Juridia.
Oh, we're snowing here.
Get your references right, Waterlubber. It's canned in Juridia.
See, I can make really, really obscure references, and there's always going to be that one person who picks it up and corrects me.
Well, because I have essentially memorized Spaceballs.
And I said, C is for cookie and cookie is for me. And the moderator, the IT guy who's in his 40s, corrected me and said C is for cookie and that's all right with me. He knew it better than I did.
What, is that Cookie Monster?
Yes, it is.
That's what I thought. I never watched Sesame Street.
Isn't he Veggie Monster now?
Veggie Monster. I don't know if the SJWs have gotten to him yet.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that.
For supporting
obesity. They call
obesity.
it Sesame Sidewalk.
What?
Sesame Sidewalk. I'm really starting to think that obesity is genetic or something else.
There is a genetic component. Okay, I watched a thing a while ago that they isolated. This was quite a while ago. After a lot of testing, they isolated what they call a fat gene. Basically, it's the gene that codes for
Wilder.
No. This is a reference to something that happened earlier in the.
Are stupid?
This is a reference to something earlier in the episode. No.
Fat squids are
listen,
stupid.
They studied this woman who couldn't stop eating, and she described this. Basically, she never felt full. So they investigated, and they found in her an inactive gene, and it was the gene that codes for I don't know if it's a protein or what, for the neurotransmitter that is responsible for signaling the brain when you're full. So it's not the other thing though. It's not the bad one. It's not the even worse one. Like there's Prader-Willi syndrome. It's not that, I don't think, because that was on an episode of CSI, and that's way worse. But basically, she would always be overeating because she never, she never ever got to a point where she could say, okay, I don't want to eat anymore.
Swim across English
So
Channel.
for her, and people that have that, they were working, like, I think they're working on gene therapies and something, because the way that they did it was they took a mouse and they genetically modified it to have this.
Wait. How do you genetically modify a mouse? Do you have to like put it in the USB port? I don't know.
They genetically modified this mouse.
Where do you get the drivers?
To not have to have the same thing, to have the same inactive gene thing, and it got really freaking fat.
Like Donald Trump fat?
Like Kim
Kardashian.
Like they're soft, like it turned to a baseball or something like that.
like Weird Al
a little furry pillow.
like Weird Al Yankovic's Fat music video.
Oh my
Fat.
gosh, I love that one.
I love that as well.
Because I'm fat.
You ain't fat.
I'm fat.
You ain't nothing.
Really, really fat.
You ain't fat. You ain't nothing. When I sit around the house, I really sit around the house.
The other one I love is Virus Alert and was Just Eat It.
Yeah, Eat It. Eat It was good.
Eat it.
Virus Alert was good. A lot of people didn't like it. I liked it.
Don't you know there are kids that are starving in Japan? Just eat it. Eat it. Eat it. Virus Alert was good too. I'm just trying to say as many songs as possible so Content ID gets confused.
Confusing Content ID is what we do here at the SentinalH YouTube channel. So that's it for this
How much ad
episode.
revenue do you usually make on each video anyway?
Pennies.
Is it really worth that 6 cents?
No, my most watched videos, regular videos, will make me around 13 cents. Okay, so
holy cow, man, that's enough money to like get 2 Steam trading cards.
sure. I hope you guys
You're rich.
have enjoyed this.
Butterfly.
Stay tuned for future episodes. We're making progress on this design of this extra building bit. I think it looks really neat. So leave any suggestions that you have in the comments for the design or anything. Stay tuned for future episodes. I'm SentinalH, and I'm signing out.